This is an odd claim. Swiss scientists claim Atlantis existed on Mars and Egypt traded with them. Swiss scientists say they can prove beyond a doubt that the lost city of Atlantis was on Mars and its astronauts traded with ancient Egypt for a significant period of time. Even more incredible, they claim to have the evidence to show that the legendary King Tut died spectacularly in a space shuttle crash with an alien crew. I mean, where did they come up with all this? The Martian civilization destroyed itself or was destroyed by a meteor while Egypt was still in its prime. This is what Dr. Stephen Weitz told a gathering of reporters and scientists in Bern, Switzerland. But the inhabitants left their mark both on Earth and Mars, he says. Top secret photography taken by America's Martian probes clearly show the remains of temples on the surface of the planet. He says, Egypt's pyramids and the ability to mummify the human body are definitely the result of technologies that originated not on Earth but someplace else, in this case Mars. It's our belief that the Atlanteans traded these technologies to the Egyptians for gold, he said. Dr. Weiss and a colleague, Egyptologist Konrad Vetsch, said that a recently deciphered Egyptian scroll first led them to believe that Atlantis was located on Mars. The scroll describes the technologically advanced civilization existing beyond our own planet in the vast black ocean of space. Now, before I continue with this, let me remind you, I do have a playlist of the Emerald Tablets written by Thoth the Atlantean, Hermes Trismegistus. And in one of he describes the fascinating descriptions of their philosophy and technology and beliefs. But in there, he talks about the fact that an exiled general with his entourage had been exiled to Mars. But Mars at that time had a similar climate and atmosphere as Earth, and that the general was supposed to be buried under a pyramid at his death. He was exiled on Mars, and his entourage were buried under, the general was buried under a face, and his entourage were buried next to him under pyramids. And he says that they were big and large because when the Atlanteans were passing from Earth, bypassing Mars, they would be able to see the face and the pyramids on Mars, and knowing where the exiled general was. And this is all written in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. I do have a playlist there, and you can see that in my playlist. And you could read it, you could listen to it as you're doing work around the house or jogging or, driving, because there's a lot of things in there that have to do with our ancient history. So I guess Dr. Weiss and colleagues somehow picked up on this as well. Now, going back to the article, it also alludes to space travel and the use of the shuttlecraft to ferry man-like extraterrestrials from space-bound motherships to the surface of Earth. Dr. Weiss told the group, researchers have long known that the Egyptians were exposed to flight because an elaborate model of what they call a glider was found in King Tut's tomb. In light of information gleaned from the scrolls, we now see that the glider was in fact the replica of a space shuttle, and it was just such a spacecraft that crashed with Tut aboard, he said. Not everyone attending the conference agreed with the experts' theories. Dr. Seth Rauch, a German historian, thinks they went too far in calling the Martian civilization Atlantis. The expert said, I don't doubt that the Egyptians were in contact with extraterrestrials, but until we actually inspect the ruins on Mars, there is no way to know if they are the remains of Atlantis. In my opinion, if Atlantis did exist, it existed here on Earth, he said. Norwegian astronomer Erling Gadd agreed. He said Atlantis might have been the colony of an ancient civilization, but it most definitely was located on this planet. How come none of these scientists were surprised about temples on Mars, though? How come these scientists seem to know of scripts that possibly prove the interaction of ancient Egypt and aliens? What else is it that the scientific elite are aware of that we are not? Why is it that they think our history and things that may determine who we are none of our concern? Or is it just that they think the more secrets they have, the more important they are? And this is on Bended Reality. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.